Welcome to Space Matrix. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. The Supreme Court delivered a stunning blow, sending shockwaves through Washington and beyond. The justices struck down Donald Trump's proposed tariff plan, a move that many did not see coming. This plan was a key pillar of his economic agenda, designed to protect American industries and assert U.S. dominance in global trade. The decision shocked Trump's camp, who had long viewed executive power over trade as nearly absolute, a tool to reshape the economy on their terms. The ruling wasn't just a legal defeat, it was a direct challenge to his America First strategy, undermining a central promise to his supporters. By curbing presidential authority, the court forced a national debate. Who truly controls U.S. trade policy, the president or Congress? The answer could reshape the balance of power in Washington. This precedent will shape future presidencies and redefine the rules of global trade, sending a message to leaders at home and abroad. Markets reacted with volatility, businesses paused major decisions, and world leaders watched closely, uncertain about the next chapter in U.S. trade. The era of unpredictable, unilateral U.S. trade action may be ending, replaced by a new era of checks and balances. The decision signals a possible return to more traditional, predictable trade policy, where negotiation and consensus take center stage. But as the dust settles, Americans are left wondering, what does this new landscape mean for them, their jobs, and the prices they pay every day? The fallout is just beginning, and the nation waits to see how this historic decision will ripple through every corner of American life. Tariffs are essentially taxes placed on imported goods, and they play a major role in shaping the flow of international trade. These taxes are designed to make foreign products more expensive, giving an advantage to domestic industries and encouraging consumers to buy locally made goods. For example, when the U.S. imposes a tariff on German cars, it raises their price tag, making American-made vehicles more appealing to shoppers. Supporters of tariffs argue that these measures help shield American jobs from overseas competition and create a fairer marketplace for local businesses to thrive. However, tariffs can also backfire. Foreign companies often pass these extra costs onto U.S. consumers, which means higher prices on everything from cars and electronics to everyday appliances. For businesses that rely on imported materials or parts, tariffs can drive up production costs, sometimes forcing them to lay off workers or raise their own prices just to stay afloat. Tariffs rarely go unanswered. Other countries often retaliate by imposing their own taxes on American exports, targeting products like soybeans, motorcycles, and more. These trade wars can escalate quickly, putting American farmers and exporters at risk as their goods become less competitive abroad, sometimes leading to lost markets and financial strain. What starts as protection for one industry can ripple across the entire economy, raising the cost of living for families and making it harder for everyone to stretch their budgets. In today's interconnected world, the effects of tariffs can trigger unpredictable chain reactions, impacting global supply chains, financial markets, and even diplomatic relations. The challenge for policymakers is finding the right balance, protecting American workers and industries without causing higher prices or provoking damaging global retaliation. Tariffs are a powerful tool in the economic toolbox, but they come with significant risks and consequences that must be carefully weighed. The debate over when and how to use tariffs is as old as international trade itself, with each era facing its own unique challenges and lessons. Ultimately, the impact of tariffs is felt by every American, shaping the prices we pay, the jobs we hold, and the future of our economy. Trump's America First trade policy centered on aggressive tariffs, targeting China and even U.S. allies. He argued that decades of bad deals and foreign manipulation had cost American jobs. His solution sweeping tariffs to force companies to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Trump's plan promised a revival of American industry and national strength. The latest proposal, struck down by the Supreme Court, would have allowed automatic, escalating tariffs on countries with trade surpluses. This would have given the president unprecedented power to penalize trading partners without Congress. Supporters saw it as decisive action. Critics called it dangerous overreach. Trade wars from his first term led to higher costs and retaliation against U.S. farmers and manufacturers. Still, Trump's base believed short-term pain was worth long-term independence. Now, that vision has been halted by the court. The Supreme Court's ruling wasn't about the wisdom of tariffs, but about constitutional limits. In a 6-3 decision, the justices said Trump's plan gave the president too much unchecked power over trade. The court cited the non-delegation doctrine. Congress can't hand over its core authority to regulate commerce. Trump's plan, with automatic tariffs, blurred the line between executive and legislative powers. The majority insisted only Congress can impose broad taxes and reshape trade policy. Dissenters argued presidents need flexibility in a fast-moving global economy, but the majority held firm, unchecked executive power threatens the constitutional balance. The decision reasserts Congress's role in trade. the debate over presidential authority is far from over. The Supreme Court's decision split the country. Some manufacturers, hoping tariffs would revive their industries, felt betrayed. For them, the ruling prioritizes legal theory over American jobs. But businesses relying on global supply chains welcomed the stability, relieved that sudden tariffs wouldn't disrupt planning or raise costs. Ordinary Americans were divided, some feared for their jobs, others for their wallets. For families, the decision means more predictable prices on everyday goods. Politically, Republicans called it judicial overreach, vowing to restore presidential power. Democrats praised the ruling as a check on executive excess and a win for consumers. The ruling exposed deep divides over the future of American trade. The debate is personal, political, and far from settled. Experts are as divided as the public, with passionate arguments on both sides of the economic warfare debate. Pro-tariff voices argue that decades of free trade hollowed out U.S. industry, sending jobs overseas and weakening the nation's manufacturing base. They insist that tariffs are not just about economics, but are vital tools for protecting national security and ensuring America's independence in critical sectors. Supporters point to jobs saved in steel and aluminum, warning that dependency on economic rivals like China is dangerous, especially in times of global uncertainty or conflict. They believe tariffs can help rebuild American industry and restore lost pride in domestic production. For them, the court's decision weakens America's position in global economic competition, making it harder to defend domestic industries from unfair foreign practices. On the other hand, mainstream economists counter that tariffs are essentially a tax on Americans, raising prices for everyday goods and sparking costly trade wars that hurt consumers and businesses alike. Data from previous tariff rounds shows they often hurt more than they helped, leading to job losses in other sectors and higher costs for manufacturers and families. These economists argue for working closely with allies, investing in American workers' skills, and strengthening the economy through cooperation, not isolation or protectionism. The court's decision, they say, prevents reckless economic experiments that could backfire and destabilize the economy. In today's world, the global economy is deeply interconnected. Collaboration, not confrontation, is the path forward to shared prosperity and stability. The ruling pushes the U.S. back toward a more stable, cooperative approach, encouraging dialogue and partnership with other nations. The debate over tariffs and trade is far from over, and it will continue to shape America's economic future for years to come. The Supreme Court's decision has changed the course of U.S. trade policy. Businesses now have more certainty, encouraging investment and hiring. The global economy sees the U.S. stepping back from unilateral protectionism, but the issues that fueled Trump's tariffs, job losses, foreign competition, remain unresolved. The focus now shifts to Congress, where new trade laws may emerge with more checks and balances. The U.S. may need to rely more on diplomacy and alliances to address unfair trade. This could mean a return to a rules-based collaborative approach to global commerce. The future depends on whether America invests in innovation and worker training or remains divided. The court reaffirmed constitutional balance, but economic anxieties persist. The challenge: build a new consensus that grows the economy and shares the benefits widely. The next chapter in American trade policy is just beginning.